Did you need something? Or is it enough to bask in perfection?
This guy is very proud of himself. Hello and welcome to Session 8 of my Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire Lorethrough. It's been a few weeks since I've played, actually, for life reasons. So hopefully I get to start playing a little bit more regularly, but it might take a little bit for me to figure out exactly where I am and stuff. Like, I remember most things, but I might forget a few things that I've talked about, or quests, or those kinds of things. Currently we are in, I think it's called the Dark Cupboard. Yep, the Dark Cupboard, which is a magic shop owned by the Archmage Arkmir. Okay, so don't have any comments to read at the beginning of today's session. So I want to read from the Pillars of Eternity 2 guidebook, the history section. I'm actually going to read two sections this time because they're fairly short sections. So I figured that would be best to do that. So the first one we have is 2720 AI, the Republic Dominance Throughout Aora. And again, this game takes place in 2828, so this was about 108 years ago. In no time at all, the Valian Trading Company established permanent outposts across the known world: Grand Valia, Adir, Rawatai, the Ishamado Plains, the Eastern Reach, distant Nasatak, and the Living Lands. Their relentless advance and aggressive domination over trade channels caused other imperial powers to bristle, most notably Adir and Rawatai. And they took fewer risks abroad and lacked the commitment for a similar undertaking. The republics had the advantage of a failing empire's trade agreements and the wealth of noble families. Internal competition and the desire to establish family names and connections fueled the expansion of the trading company with an incredible momentum. So this is just more about the Valian Trading Company's presence in the Deadfire archipelago and how their kind of singular presence in this part of the world just kind of added to their power. I'm not saying they were the only people there, but they seem to have had the biggest trading presence there, which gave them a lot of power. And then the next section is 2720 to 2760. So for the next 40 years, this is Exodus and Evolution. As the collapse of Grand Valia continued apace, so just as a reminder, Grand Valia was the name of the actual empire, which is now considered, what's the word? Fallen, collapsed, and the Valian republics are now in its place, and the Valian Trading Company is a huge power in those Valian republics. Excuse me. As the collapse of Grand Valia continued apace, the last of the noble houses pulled up stakes and fled the diminishing empire. Many ships of expatriate wealthy families sought refuge in the Deadfire, where they intended to establish new lives as merchants, selling the assets of the emptied estates. What they found was no encouragement. Valia's decline had left the Empire's trading network to the east vulnerable, and both Republic and Rawataian interests in the region made a hostile climate for any would-be competitors. The exiled families had arrived too late to reap the Deadfire's wealth and opportunity. Their businesses suffered, and poverty loomed on the nearing horizon. One by one, the exiles resorted to piracy in order to sustain themselves. Even in these desperate circumstances, every member of the fleet cleaved to a shared sense of loyalty. Their fellowship demonstrated the first sign of the Valian class structures fracturing, as old families were able to look beyond their blood and recognize each other as countrymen. So this sounds a little bit like it could have been the beginning of the Principes and Patrona, which is the group of pirates in the Deadfire archipelago, which was started by ex-Valian trading company employees. So it seems like because of some kind of disillusionment that was happening with them, that was like the beginning of what now is known as the Principe. Okay, so yeah, like I said, we are currently in the Dark Cupboard, which is in the Periki's Overlook section. We have a couple very important places to visit in Neketaka today, and we might actually finish our initial exploration of Neketaka, although there might be a little bit more after this. I'm not 100% sure. We'll have to see. So this is the shopkeeper here, and I think the last thing we did in the last session was someone stole something, a pair of gloves, I want to say, from this shopkeeper and ran off. So we have been tasked with finding them again. Okay. Not that I'm going to do that right now, but okay. I think we have finished exploring all this. Let's first go to the living quarters.
You might find this interesting.
Fine robe here. I'll take that. It's not stealing, so.
Well, if you insist. Hope that helps.
Also not stealing. Trollhide belt. The trollhide belt crafted from the mossy hide of a forest troll, the intertwined vines and leaves of the belt form a solid and resistant piece of clothing. New growth obscures damage to the belt, for the moss and small plants which grow upon the belt retain some life. Though the result is somewhat like wearing an herb garden around one's waist, the hide holds some of the creature's power, granting the wearer the troll's ability to recover from wounds. And we get +1 health restored per 6 seconds. So sure, I'll give that to Bjarter. This is Fasina's journal. She was the shopkeeper downstairs. The misery of this apprenticeship. Mariko. Arkemir saves only the most tedious errands for me. If I'm not going to learn anything from this trial, I must find some way to steal enjoyment from it. Whenever Arkemir claims to be deep in study, I'll find him wandering the halls wearing an illusory face to trick his imps. Fools them every time. Sometimes I think he came to the Deadfire to be alone with those nasty things, and he spites me for getting in the way of this fun. Shortly after he left town, I stole one of the robes he keeps in his bedroom. The imps thought I was their master. Fed me cheese and ale for the rest of the afternoon. Of course, I returned the robe when I was done. Maybe it's not too late to start enjoying myself. Seemingly there, that is a little hint when we get into... If we get into Arkemir's house, we should be able to steal one of the robes from his bedroom to fool the imps into thinking that we are actually Arkemir. So, yeah.
Thirsty. A drink, sir?
Just a
Quench
cleaner,
your
I think.
thirst on the way up the mountain?
Maita inclines her head and gestures to a wagon loaded with kegs. What do you serve here?
Spirits and the like? No one this side of the slope will scorn you for a little indulgence.
She smiles.
Between us, folks tend to linger and spend coin in Perikis when they've had a few. Good for business, I say.
Show me what you got. Yeah, so it's just some alcohol here. Okay.
You have no right to interfere in Rawatai's business.
Hawana culture isn't business, you company drudge.
I mean, I guess the company in this case, this looks like Rawatai and then Huana. Well, let's see what they're fighting about.
I don't give two pyres for your tribal pride, and I wager that Arkemir cares even less.
The aumauan woman clutches her fists at her sides. Her severe features are caught in an unshakable grimace.
If this is what passes for Rautai in diplomacy, Rauzanui has bigger problems.
So yeah, this is Rawatai and Huana that are arguing with each other. The more calm and composed Huana smiles, turning when she notices you.
If you've come to see Arkemir, you're too late. He left the estate on wizard business.
What's going on between you two?
Tamar and I wanted something from Arkemir. Our powers of persuasion leave much to be desired.
The wizard got his hands on a Huana tablet, the Harapo epic. I came to reclaim it for Rawatai.
The Harapo Epic.
In the middle of my negotiations, this little pest showed up with a claim on it.
She gestures to Netehe.
The Harapo epic belongs to the Huana. The Queen sent me to remind you both.
This is because of history, my history skill. An intact primary source is a rare find for the Huana.
Akira, few outsiders can appreciate what such an artifact could mean to our people.
Posturing about cultural value is worthless. We both want the tablet for the same reason.
Wait, is there another reason you both want the tablet so badly? The pair go silent and awkwardly avoid eye contact, focusing on different directions.
There are things better left unsaid.
While I'm standing here, you mean?
Akira, I don't deny it.
So what's your plan?
I might as well adjourn to the palace in Serpent's Crown and give Archimere time to think.
What a load of... You mean to get your hands on that tablet with or without Archimere? You island rats can barely write your own names, much less a distinguished epic.
Did this Rawataian person say why they want it? It seems like a Huana tale, which is why Netehe wants it, but what about Tamara? Just says reclaim it for Rawatai. So it seems like they both just want it for the story. Well, they're saying they both just want it for what it represents, but there's a different reason why they both want it that they're not saying. Netehe blinks at her shock and takes a moment to smooth down the creases in her uniform.
Scamper back to the Brass Citadel and spin your own plots. I will happily do the same on my side of the island.
I have questions for Netehe before you go.
For me? I could use a reprieve.
Netehe watches Tamara skulk away, turning back to you only when she's gone, and lets out a heavy sigh. Oh, I thought I was going to be able to talk to both of them. Oh well.
These are frustrating times we live in. What say?
Netehe opens her palms, inviting you to speak. Any ideas on retrieving the Harapo epic?
There's always Facina, Archimere's apprentice. No love lost there if whispers are true.
Netehe shrugs.
Archimere seems to enrage those of his inner circle, not excluding the imps.
I had questions about the tablet.
Akira, I say the relevance of the Harapo epic can't be overstated. It could prove a touchstone for the Huana. It could even... Sorry, you go ahead.
Why is the tablet so important to you?
It is important to all who call the Deadfire home. I only tell you this because I know you can be trusted. The epic is supposed to contain information on Ukaizo.
So I don't know if we've read about Ukaizo yet. It's an important place in this game and in the Deadfire. The tooltip here says, Ukaizo is a mythical island rumored to be somewhere in the Deadfire archipelago. Some legends regard Ukaizo as the wellspring of Huana culture. Others tell of riches beyond measure. All agree that Ukaizo vanished after the cataclysmic storms and volcanic eruptions blotted out the horizon. But it remains to be seen if these tales possess an echo of merit or simply romanticize an ancient fantasy. So that's what this epic is about. It's some kind of story about Ukaizo.
Nothing as dramatic as a set of coordinates, but anything helps. Stories are also important to the Huana. Much of who we are is still missing.
What could the epic tell you about the Huana?
The story could speak to the values and beliefs of our ancestors. The language structure, narrative voice, and use of metaphor can tell us something about the time of its inscription.
She touches her bottom lip and glances off to the distance.
We could even... I've lost you, haven't I? Akira, I tend to go on.
So wait a sec here. So it's not that this place, it says nothing as dramatic as a set of coordinates. In other words, it's not going to tell us how to find Ukaizo. But it's got values and beliefs. And it seems like, well, we could even... I've lost you, haven't I? So it seems like she's hoping it could do something. So I wonder if it would point the direction or, like, give us a little hint on how to get into Ukaizo. Did you know about the epic before it fell into Archimere's hands?
Akira, from the Journal of Rakua, an explorer who found the tablet on a remote island some 20 years ago. Unfortunately for Rakua, the most we found of her was her journal among the flotsam of a shipwreck.
Okay, so they knew where it was, but it seems like she lost it in a shipwreck. Why is the Royal Deadfire Company so interested in the tablet?
They think the tablet can show them,
Tekehu stops herself, weighing her words with care.
well, the way to Ukaizo.
She sighs and regards you with unease.
Akira, it's a mythical island, but that isn't stopping any of us from rushing to claim it first.
That's all I wanted to know.
Akira, the pleasure is mine.
Farewell. So this tablet could have some kind of hint on how to get into Ukaizo, which is why the Huana and the Deadfire, the Royal Deadfire Company, want it. Oh, got a stray cat. Man, we got a lot of these. Got Jules the cat. Gensvef berries? I think we've got these. These strange berries have a delicate feathered surface. They're used in the production of svef, a powerful hallucinogenic drug. Though originally grown in distant Talnes, Gensvef plants have been transplanted and cultivated in the Deadfire, where the alternating wet and dry seasons provide ideal growing conditions. While the Talnes variant of Gensvef is a thin, frail plant, those found growing wild throughout the archipelago are quite hardy. So this is what we make svef out of, a very popular drug. And this is Jules, who gives us +1 perception if we have her traveling with us.
The sea is true home, not smelly mountain.
Sounds like Gonzo from the Muppets. An engraving at the base of the statue reads, Periki, first guild master of the Watershapers Guild. She looks downcast and introspective. And this is the last place, one of the important places I said we have to go today. The last place that we're going to go in Periki's Overlook, which is right next to us here, the Watershapers Guild. Let's talk to Worthless Idiot first.
What you want?
The imp recoils from you with a sharp hiss. What are you doing out here?
Archimere doesn't let Worthless Idiot outside after Worthless Idiot sprayed dung on stupid tablet. But Archimere not home.
A mischievous grin splits the imp's bony features. Wonder if they're talking about the tablet. Can't remember what it's called now. I know it's about Ukaizo, but I can't remember what the tablet's called. Wonder if we're talking about that.
So Worthless Idiot watches the ships come in, looks at all the tasty gulls.
It sighs down at the vista of oceans and docks. You want to set sail and eat gulls? You're welcome. Let's not do that yet. How can I get inside Archimere's manor?
Sprout wings like imp, huh? Fly up to balcony.
The imp bats its wings. Bats its wings extra hard for emphasis, before pointing to the highest level of the neighboring manor.
Doors are for ground meat.
Your name is Worthless Idiot?
Those Archimere's big words. Gave name, but Worthless Idiot no understand.
Worthless Idiot wriggles a finger in its ear. I'm pretty sure he meant it as an insult.
That's so? Worthless Idiot should ask Stinkfoot or Catbreath what they say.
So Archimere likes to name his imps with derogatory names. You want to set sail and eat gulls? You're welcome aboard the Defiant. The imp takes in your words, its eyes widening to the size of moist saucers. A flap of its wings carries it closer to whisper in your ear.
How often you beat your crew, huh?
It doesn't whisper at all, and the question sends a ringing through your ears. I don't. Not yet, at least.
No beatings? None?
It blinks, struggling to encompass the idea.
I join crew? I join crew?
The imp flutters in an excited little circle. It points at the distant shape of Queensbirth and salivates at the sight of gulls landing on the rigging of the Defiant. Alright, so we have an imp crew now for our ship. And that person didn't like what we did. Thought it was gross that we have an imp.
Did the queen summon everyone to the palace?
These plants first, and then
Do you think the Audra Colossus would come here
we'll
next?
head into the Watershapers Guild.
It does not.
Tekehu, you have shirked your duties for the last time, I say.
A guildmaster in fine robes stares down the sizable, blue-skinned aumauan before her. Students observe in the exchange in a loose circle, exchanging whispers.
Guildmaster, be reasonable.
He tosses his anemone-like hair, which glows faintly with each bulbous strand that settles in place. This is a godlike here. Andra godlike.
I skipped one lecture to travel up the mountain. Still, the palace is closed until you present me before Onikaza.
I believe Onikaza is the name of the queen. He crosses his arms and raises one eyebrow. The murmurs of the crowd grow in volume.
You went alone. I asked for patience, but as usual, you make a trench out of a tide pool.
She pacifies her tone, suddenly conscious of the onlookers. This sounds important, or controversial, or both.
Akira, it's always both where this one is concerned.
She nods towards Tekehu.
My patience wears thin, old shark. You have stifled me enough for one trip through Rakuhu's bowels.
In spite of their obvious age difference, Tekehu raises an instructive finger to the guildmaster. She flares her nostrils and takes a deep breath. You have stifled me enough for one trip through Rakuhu's bowels. Oh, okay. I thought he was saying that he had died before. Yeah, Rakuhu is a name for Bareth here. And Bareth takes the form of two snakes who are just constantly eating and digesting, and that symbolizes life and death in the cycle.
I say Ngati weeps at her petulant spectacle of a child.
He's a child of Ngati. Andra, goddess of the sea?
Akira, the significance is clearer to some than others.
He waves toward the guildmaster with the back of his hand.
For a Watershaper who treasures his duty to the goddess, you spend too many days cavorting at the brothel.
The guildmaster sidesteps Tekehu and takes long strides away from the circle. Sparing another glance at Tekehu, the crowd disperses.
Ugh, insufferable.
Tekehu sighs and smooths back his hair. He turns his attention to you with a raised brow.
Did you need something? Or is it enough to bask in perfection?
This guy is very proud of himself. Tekehu grins and opens a palm, inviting you to speak. And we keep seeing him here kind of take some water and just like form it into a dolphin that does some flips above his hand. That's not the point of water shaping, but that is a water shaping talent, and we're in the Watershapers Guild. Water shaping sounds like a prestigious talent.
Well, through our connection to the gods, the Hawana mold water like it is clay, easing it into an assumed form.
Grinning, Tekehu adjusts his posture to assume a flowing, almost weightless stance.
We could sink every ship in Rawatai's fleet if they drew too close to the city, but some of us have gentler tastes.
He sighs and stands once more at ease.
Some of us see water shaping for what it is, a gift of divine expression.
So you're a water shaper.
Well, surely you have seen my works across Neketaka.
Tekehu knits his brow with immediate concern.
Look to the antechamber of the Kahanga Palace for my Apple of Ngati, or to the luminous bathhouse for my Dance of the Wanton Priestess.
So I wonder if the Dance of the Wanton Priestess, there was that water sculpture, I guess you can call it, in the middle of the pool in the luminous bathhouse. So that seems like it was his work. Tekehu folds his arms and nods towards the door.
For as long as there have been Hawana, there have been water shapers. But only since Tekehu has water shaping been art.
And Aloth rolls his eyes, and I am right there with you, Aloth. I take it you and the guildmaster don't get along?
Kira, I bring art to the Guild of Watershapers, but they do not tolerate expression here. What I am is to blame, I say.
A godlike?
Just so. Blessed and cursed at birth, I say. Watershaping is Ngati's gift to the Huana, and apparently I am too. Savior to the tribes.
He folds his arm and grimaces. This guy is very arrogant. So push back a little, test your boundaries.
The only question is, do I return to my duties, or while away a few hours in the bathhouse?
Tekehu tugs on his hair and purses his lips. Back to my other questions.
What say?
Have you got something to tell the crown?
Kira, I sent the prince a missive and heard nothing back.
Tekehu crosses his arms and sighs.
He is a busy warrior in a time of peace, I say.
Let's go talk to him together then. Being a watcher tends to open doors.
A watcher? And here I am, used to being the freak of Periki's Overlook.
He rests a hand on his hips and grins.
What does a watcher do?
I commune with the spirits of the dead. Oh wait, I was just reading them in order. Sorry about that. I will say, I'm an intermediary between here and the in-between.
Kira, just so.
He strokes his chin, nodding.
I say I am no sailor, and I know even less about death. I am an artist.
He stirs his fingers through the air, drawing together droplets of moisture into an orb of water that floats over his palm.
My peers do not understand. Water shaping to them is like studying calligraphy, to brew ink and sort parchment.
He lets the orb fall to the ground and splash at his feet. Well, I'm curious to see what you can do.
The tide brings unexpected gifts. You are not unknown to me, I say. Whispers of an Adra Colossus reach my ears, and louder whispers of a corpse who follows him.
That corpse would be me. Tekehu raises one of his brows.
What will you do when you catch up to this walking god?
Not sure yet. Any ideas? He nods, touching his lower lip as he weighs the matter with care.
I would command the ocean herself to drag him to the bottom of a lightless trench.
Tekehu shrugs.
If it untangles me from the guild's apron strings, then you can mount me as the figurehead of your fair ship.
Tekehu inclines his head and touches the circular marking on his brow.
Our quarters may smell of fish before long, but your crew will be more beautiful by association, I say.
He winks, and Aloth once again rolls his eyes.
No one's ever called me beautiful before.
Blushing, she averts her gaze. Aloth massages his temples, shaking his head. Let's be off.
Lead on. It will be good to put some distance between myself and the guild, even if we find less savory places along the way. A fair warning, Captain. Ngati gifted her favorite son with more than his stunning complexion.
What, can you breathe underwater?
Good guess. Only for as long as, well...
Tekehu folds his arms and considers.
I say you will learn. In time.
He winks, his eyes suddenly as dark as beads of polished onyx. So I can make him a druid or a chanter? Or both. Let's go druid. We had a chanter in the first game. Let's try something new here. And I will replace...
Farewell and fair winds to you.
Seraphin.
If you want for company, look no further.
No. Gotta level up. It's Tekehu here. So, for Tekehu, our newest party member, I've been working on his athletics and religion skills. I also gave him this skill here. Wild Strike Freeze. The druid's knowledge of the forces of nature allows them to automatically inflict additional freeze damage when spirit shifted. I gave him a few healing and damage spells, druid spells, and oh, I guess I automatically get these spells. That's cool. And I can also turn into a shark. So definitely have to remember to try that one. Oh, I'm not done yet. All right. I thought level 5 was going to be it. Give him will defense. Yeah. There we go. And also he wants to talk to us. As you turn to Tekehu, a shadow passes over your vision. You feel a tug from somewhere deep within his soul. A faint ripple creases the air between you two, like the forest of ethereal kelp. Surrender to the sensation. Tekehu's soul is vibrant and energetic, almost too lively to occupy its mortal shell. There's a bright thread of energy that trails away from him. You instinctively follow it. You stand in a grand hall, underwater and cloaked in oppressive shadows. Pillars of coral and bone reach up to support a ceiling that must be hundreds of fathoms away. Chandeliers lit with bioluminescent globes dangle from long ropes, swaying in languid, tentacular motions. At the furthest end of the hall sits Andra, as tall as a castle keep and leaning forward in her throne. She has adopted the head of an anglerfish and regards you with its globular stare. Her sickle-shaped jaw opens and closes in a rictus of conflicted emotions.
A life without friction or challenge has left the boy in need of guidance.
The voice of Andra pounds at your mind with relentless force.
He thinks himself frail, but my heart beats in his chest. He is stronger than either of you could know.
So, him claiming that he is Andra's chosen and how powerful he is and everything, doesn't seem like it's just a brash attitude. It seems like it's true. Unfortunately for us, because we'll have to listen to Tekehu. She claps her hands and the vision shatters, flooding the hall with a deluge of awareness as you return to your senses. Regarding you with a warm smile, Tekehu at first seems oblivious to your momentary detachment. Then his brow furrows with concern.
Captain, what say? You look a little blue about the gills.
Andra just reached out to me.
Ingati spoke to you.
Skeptical, Tekehu cradles his chin and considers.
To leave her son guessing. Oh, this is my tricksome mother through and through.
She seems to care about your well-being.
What mother doesn't? You must be special indeed for Ingati to speak with words. For her people, she lays out cryptic stepping stones hidden in omens. Kara, but send her my fondest wishes.
Where'd you live prior to Neketaka?
The Kahanga are my tribe, but my people settled on Atua, an island too modest to deserve the attention of maps. My mortal mother tans boar hides. My father trades in the abundance of pearls and opals Atua is blessed to provide.
Tua. That must be an island.
When I was born, father called me his blue topaz boy.
Tekehu scratches the back of his head and grins. Have any other notable godlike come from Atua?
Doubtless, I say. But I am the most precious gem of recent history. Godlike are revered as bringers of local change, but only Ingati's chosen is thought to deliver an omen for all Huana at once.
Your birth must have been a big event.
Ikera. High winds stirred the vigor of the seas. 2 huts collapsed before our local storm speaker could shout down the weather.
He beams with pride.
They say the skies only cleared when I fell into the midwife's basket. peace had returned to the island. Or so the Mataru predicted.
What did you do around the island?
I could not be kept from the water, so my father taught me how to dive for pearls and azada snails. Ngati filled my palms with riches on every harvest, I say. When I came of an age to begin a man's pursuits, the Mataru reached out to the Kahanga Queen. Weighing my arrival against the forces that descended on her territory, the Queen could not invite Ngati's chosen into the Watershaper's Guild fast enough. In hard times, the endorsement of a goddess is more valuable than currency.
Back to my previous questions.
Akira, speak on.
Tell me about water shaping.
The art of our ancestors, I say. To bend water to our will is a gift from Mother Ngati to her chosen people.
Tekehu stands tall and grins with pride.
Since devastation swept our way of life out to sea, too much of the art has been lost. Periki, founder of the guild, organized the lore of Ngati's talent into a series of postures and meditations we call the 4 forms of water shaping.
What are these forms?
Try as we might to embody Ngati's element, our bodies are not water. Akira, this is the form of grief, a beginner's test.
Tekehu closes his eyes and sweeps out his hands, exhaling sharply.
The body's internal water is a force that conquers all. Even the mountain will bow to the stream. The form of hope, I say.
Tekehu crosses one leg before the other and sways on the spot. So we have grief, hope.
Water commands its vessel, and the vessel can be shaped as surely as the mountain. The form of metamorphosis, Akira?
Tekehu opens his eyes, which now resemble polished onyx. His smile is hungry, predatory. He blinks and the effect is gone. Grief, hope, metamorphosis, and...
The art is a challenge to grasp, difficult to master, and impossible to perfect. Unless you are Ngati's chosen, I say.
You said there are 4 forms.
It is only by force of habit that I omit the final form. We do not speak of it in the guild. The form of transcendence.
Tekehu closes his eyes and concentrates, holding out his palms. He bites his lower lip and focuses. Finally, he shakes his head and stands at ease once more.
Only a story, I say. Even crafty Periki could not commit this ancient form to her scrolls. It was said that our ancestors could shape the very oceans of the Deadfire. This was Ngati's true gift, but we have yet to recover it from the ruins of our past.
Shows the 4th unused form in transcendence. Her eyes well with tears as constant as rain. Pitied is Ngati, Lady of Lament, as the pearl orb of the heavens crosses her view. And then, so that was the first one. Her eyes well with tears, as constant as rain. But the moon's skyward journey continues apace. The lover's affection is ephemeral, as fingers touching. So yeah, Andra has a lot to do with the moons of Aora. This is the Guildmaster Myru.
You have questions for me. Speak up, I say.
Guildmaster Myru folds her arms and nods. Tell me about the guild.
Ikira, my pleasure. Water shaping is a talent bestowed on the Huana by the goddess Ngati. Periki was the first in recent memory to organize the talent into a series of teachable forms. What else would you like to know?
Where did the Watershapers get their power?
Our art is the yield of the Huana's ancient covenant with the goddess. Our ancestors pledged to protect the luminous Adra, the islands, and the tribes. Ngati gifted us with the strength to keep our promise.
What do Watershapers do, exactly?
We control tides, prevent storm damage, and keep unwelcome ships at bay. Of course, you already know Tekehu, our prized pupil. We represent the best of Huana achievement, no small responsibility.
Back to my other questions.
Akira, speak freely.
Farewell. Aurora? The young Huana holds out his hands as if to catch an incoming missile. He winces in concentration, and an orb of water rises and floats midair. Sweat drips down his nose. Tekehu clears his throat loudly. He flinches, and in that instant the water loses all shape and splashes on the floor. Crestfallen, he sighs and drops his stance.
Damn it, Tekehu, why? I almost had it that time.
Not even close. If you want to achieve the second form, you will need to loosen that posture. Spending a day submerged in the bathhouse always helped me.
He smirks.
Did you need something?
He nods to you and shakes out his arms, readying himself for another try. You seem to be having trouble.
I can feel the connection to Andra just like Myru taught me. But there's something missing. Maybe it's my form.
Any advice to help our friend here with his water shaping, Tekehu?
Remain loose, but not too loose. Confine yourself, but spread out at all times.
He nods, passing you a secret smile. That doesn't seem helpful at all.
Like this?
Waura shuffles his feet apart and squeezes his shoulders together, looking to Tekehu for approval.
Perfect. Keep at it, and you'll be teaching me the fourth form in no time.
He claps Waura on the shoulder, upsetting his stance.
Suppose I'll give anything a try.
He nods to you and resumes practice. Oh, so I guess it was helpful. I'm not going to steal that, but let's read this, because this is a Watershaper's robe. Offering minimal protection, cloth armor consists of layers of wool or linen cloth, though it does not provide much protection. It is the least restrictive type of body armor. Okay. So it's just armor, but it doesn't really cost you any time, even though it's weak armor. Some scrolls. Palm slats. Some Svef. And another scroll. Daraku's reply. Okay, so a couple things to read here. Here's the 4 forms of water shaping. What follows is an initiate's primer in the 4 forms of water shaping, which comprise the basic lessons of our guild: grief, hope, metamorphosis, and transcendence. The form of grief: acceptance that one's physicality is not as mutable as water. The form of hope: understanding that water is more relentless and inexorable than any natural force. The form of metamorphosis: realization that the body's internal water can help to mediate the prior forms. And finally, the form of transcendence: water covers aura. If water can be shaped, so can the world. And this is Dakaru's reply. Myru, for what did you send me away to meditate in the 4th form in uncharted waters, only to summon me back to the Kahanga fleet? A bomb must have gone off in Serpent's crown, one of the revelation, if not black powder. The interruption is a setback. I trust that whatever happens next will propel our people forward. I will sail Periki's resolve into the waters where I suspect you need me most and await your orders. I hope on the rumors carried upon the waves are to be trusted. I would tell you to send Onakaza my love, but she knows that it is hers. Tell her that she needs only snap her fingers, and I will be in her storm again. Daraku, Master Watershaper, seemingly maybe former lover of Queen Onakaza. And this is a quest item, and this is not stealing, so I'm just going to take these, because we might need it later. This is Selected Correspondence of Giftbringer Aiden. This is an Andra book, which I read in the first game. This ornate basin makes a high-pitched ringing sound when pressure is applied around the outer rim. Alright, let's go to the guild ruins.
How long do you reckon it takes for a place to end up like this?
Yeah, this is overgrown here. I mean, there is an entrance down here. It's wide open, but I guess the suggestion is that not many people have come in here.
Of course.
This stone door is sealed shut. A few engraved symbols stand out among the other carvings and inscriptions. Apart from that, you find no evident means of opening the way. I wonder why down here... Oh, they're too far away? Oh. So I gotta remember when I go with these scripted interactions, I gotta get everybody close. Continue. A faded inscription is nestled among the elaborate stone carvings. Read the inscription. Huana runes decorate the stone entrance. Ngati would not have gifted her chosen people a watery covenant unless they persisted in deserving it. This sanctum is a covenant of our making. Only the sigil of the covenant and the words of my devotion will open the way. Periki, master of the guild. So we need a sigil and words in order to open this door. What happens if I push against the door? The door stands resolutely shut. No amount of brute pressure will influence that one way or another. All right, leave. Currency. Oh, there are people down here. Okay.
You should see this.
Is this a Kekehu?
What say, friend? The guild sanctum has seen better days.
The young Watershaper leans on his broom and smiles at you. What do you do here?
Simply a caretaker. I dust off Periki's tomb and try to keep the place tidy. Caring for the guild hall usually means drying off what others get wet in practice.
Kekehu shakes his head with a weary smile. What's behind that stone door by the staircase?
A sanctum for master Watershapers, I say. No students or outsiders allowed. I have never been there myself. Myru assures me the room has no need of cleaning.
He shrugs, smiling. Are you a Watershaper?
Akira. One of middling skill, if I am generous. Not all of us can boast of Tekehu's talent. But Nagati touches us differently, I say.
Yeah, and here's another example of, I think it's a lack of, coaching. Some people will say Nagati, others will say Ngati. At first, when I first was playing this, I thought maybe it was the difference between people who worshipped and referred to Andra as Ngati and people who didn't, who just saw the word and assumed it was pronounced Nagati, but now I just think it's dependent on whatever the voice actor was saying.
The guild didn't used to allow outsiders the freedom of our halls. Akira. But how times change.
Very well. So we have some exceptional scale armor in here and a baby pearl. Not gonna steal this though. The statue depicts an aumauan woman, her hands extended and grasping at the air. An eroded plaque sits by her feet. Gonna guess this is Periki. Something about the statue calls out to you. The echo of a fractured soul that tarried in this place for long and thoughtful years. You feel victory tinged by grief and regret. Attempt to read the plaque. The words are much eroded and water damaged, but a few choice snippets of phrases stand out with clarity. Periki, Lauren, Hunter, cross the length of, and back again. Before, cunning deal, Lafas. I wonder what that would be. Laphas. May her rest, ilti soul, Edom. Closer scrutiny reveals that the inscription was purposefully marred, an act of sabotage done perhaps years ago. By the thoroughness, you suspect Kith hands.
This is the tomb of Periki. Such disrepair, I say.
Tekehu tuts and sighs. Inspect the lingering soul. Your vision bobs with the motion of the sea. You stand aboard the deck of Swiftwinds, where your mates share bemused, self-congratulatory glances as they work. One of them claps your back with approval. Shake off the gesture. You step back and aim a reproachful look at your mate, however friendly his intent. You know there will be time for reprieve when you are squared away in Neketaka. Something cuts through the water to your port side, an enormous shape just beneath the waves. Someone shouts that the winds have turned in your favor at last. This is followed by an enthusiastic cheer among the crew. You don't share in their mirth. Eyes to the horizon, I say. You bring home a mighty gift. Though it takes an unusual form, one that you pray Ngati, you are able to keep in check. The vision dissipates and your land legs reassert themselves. You know one thing for certain. That was no whale swimming alongside Periki's boat, and that is because I'm a hunter. See what happens if I hold Periki's hand. You grasp her hand with tenderness. At first nothing happens, but then a tiny droplet of water forms in the corner of her eye and rolls down her cheek, dripping to the floor. Wipe away the tear. You reach out and draw your thumb down the statue's cheek, wiping away the trail of moisture. For a moment, the stone feels soft to the touch. So it seems like Periki's soul is in this statue, maybe trapped in the statue. The tunnel descends sharply into the murky waters. There's no telling just how far into the mountain it goes. So Tekehu can run through this water, where our stride is interrupted. On the provenance and ruination of Neketaka's old city. Okay, so this is some history on Old City here. Excerpt from a lecture given before the annual convention of the Academy of Architectural Historians in Adir. Close examination by learned parties suggests that Neketaka is significantly older than it might first appear. We take as our example the suppurating wound in the city's side, which the locals charmingly refer to as the gullet. On its face, it is not considerably different from your average slum. Indeed, it contains all that one might expect of such a place: a desperate poverty, wrenching hunger, a tavern fare brimming with miscreants, and a flourishing criminal culture. Of course, it has its own unique offering as well, a towering pile of garbage dumped into the district from the more affluent neighborhoods above it. It is, in every sense, abominable. The Huana leadership should be ashamed. But I digress. I do want to say here, when they started talking about the gullet, I thought it was going to be really derogatory. And it is. They're making fun of the gullet. But at least this person is blaming the Huana leadership instead of blaming the people that live down there. But I digress. Far more interesting than the caste stratifications among the Huana are the bones their city is built upon. For beneath the gullet lies a vast cavern littered with the remains of an ancient city. Referred to simply as the Old City by the denizens of Neketaka, this sunken metropolis is notable for two reasons. The Old City's architecture is markedly different in style, form, and apparent use from the architecture of modern Neketaka, and there is no readily available explanation for the Old City's destruction that has not already been considered and discounted by those who incline to study it. My peers here in the Academy and beyond believe that the Old City's destruction is clearly the fault of the region's energetic volcanism and subsequent tectonic rumblings. I would caution against grasping at such easy solutions, however. Consider the following. The Huana has lived in the region for thousands of years. Earthquakes are no more a surprise to them than are the archipelago's daily soaking rains. None in Aora match their sheer creativity and expertise in building to withstand these events. Moreover, for all their flexible in building construction, the Huana's tastes have proven to be remarkably stable over time, showing a clear preference for designs that mimic the rhythm and shapes of the natural world. The Old City shows none of these things. Indeed, what remains was constructed primarily of stone cut with austere blocks, and the buildings are arranged in a manner not dissimilar from those prevalent in the Gwithan ruins that dot the landscape. With those 2 points in mind, does it not seem prudent to ask whether the Old City is Huana in origin, and if it is not, who built it? And finally, what destroyed it? So Old City under the gullet, this person seems to be suggesting, is an old Ingwithan city.
Indeed.
A lot of antidotes down here. Obsidian flake and turquoise. Oop, did I not take that? And I think that's it down here. This is an overgrown library, the grotto, and this is the stone door. Okay, that's it. Right, so that's it for Periki's Overlook. I mean, we still have Archimere's mansion, but not going to go there just yet. I also wanted to see what weapons Tekehu is using. A two-handed rod. That's good. Water flowing through this timepiece keeps its mechanism in constant motion. Oh, so this is a clock. Read. Alright, the last section of Neketaka, Serpent's Crown. So in Serpent's Crown, we have Una's luxuries, probably a merchant. Muhai's estate. Is that the Guildmaster in the Watershaper's Guild? I think that might be. We have Lady Aparo's estate, the Road East, and finally the Kahanga Palace. Oh, and down here is Takano's estate. Let's start there, and then we'll make our way along this road, eventually up to the palace.
Sparring. See the scratches on the wood?
So this is Takano. The older Mataro man stands ringed by younger Juana. Apprentices are pupils, it seems. His robes shimmer with quartz beading and his perfume announces his presence from across the room. Yet beneath his finery he looks like a fighter gone to seed. Disused muscles flop from his arms, and flab pads him like so many layers of silk. He looks up and notices you.
Greetings, and welcome to my home.
He gestures to the lavish room, puffing his broad chest out a little more.
For what do you come to my villa?
Beaming, he spreads his arms wide.
Is he going to do this every time?
What? Opening his arms? I don't get what Aloth is annoyed with here. Takano continues grinning at you, oblivious to Aloth's irritation. Read Takano's soul. It's either that or farewell. Your essence slips from your body, and Takano's soul enfolds you like a warm, oily thing. As his fears and questions seep into you, your perspective shifts to his. At first, you worry this pale elf before you had been sent by the Valian debt collectors. It would be a low trick, taking advantage of your famous hospitality, but then those Valians are crafty. Perhaps if your villa were bigger, then they might know you were a man worthy of respect. At least you have the shell. You took it away, not only for safekeeping, but also because you're a little ashamed of it. How could such a simple, ugly thing be sacred to a god? But it was a gift from the queen, and so you keep it. Your gaze strays to the wall. Yes, you must knock down the section there, install a wide, grand window, once you have the money. You retreat from Takano's soul to find him watching you with a placid smile. So I wonder if that was... He said the pale elf before me, so he must have been talking about me here. At least you have the shell. So he has a shell somewhere that is sacred to Andra, that the queen gave him. may be important. Farewell. Nothing too special there. Here. Seems like a lot of people here are training.
Happily.
The shark, portrayed mid-leap, has been carved from a single piece of wood. A wide blade is mounted here. Beneath it, an engraving reads, "For courage in battle." Rune powder.
Just a moment, please. There you go. Of course.
You see cracks along the surface of this battle horn where it was carefully repaired. Cornet of Waves. This must be the shell. It's a quest item. This conch is inscribed with the wave and crescent symbol of Andra. The tip has been sawn off and fitted with a silver mouthpiece. When you hold it to your ear, you hear crashing waves and a faint sound of a woman singing. Okay, so I have to remember that that's there.
Indeed.
You have Takano's key. I wonder if that was to get into that chest down there.
I'll try my best. It's no trouble.
Okay.
For what do you bury your face in parchment, my friend?
A wizard requires a grimoire. Surely you write your chants somewhere.
Never. For what would I scribe a song that lives in my heart?
I would be assuming that we made Tekehu a chanter, but he's not a chanter. Una.
I'm sure I have the perfect gemstone to match your eyes. Take a look.
Show me what you have for sale. Okay, so we have some unique things here. A pearlescent rhomboid hellstone, which is a helmet. Gives us a 10% chance to reflect spells and grants shifting chroma. The colors within the hellstone shift, applying random defensive bonus at the beginning of battle. This faceted pebble circles at the head of a wearer in a tight orbit. Beautiful colors swirl over its surface in shifting pearlescent patterns. Hellstones like this are often the prized treasures of ancient mausoleums. It isn't definitively known if they are the result of naturally occurring phenomena or some forgotten enchantment. I would love to get that at some point. Actually, it doesn't seem that expensive. Oh, okay. Because I would love to see the effect that has. Seems like it's like a gem that like circles your head. This is the Ring of Boundless Stars. It grants Tane's Chaotic Orb and Metaleta's Concussive Missiles. The gem at the heart of this ring looks like a dark reflection of the firmament above the world. The metal band is as cold as the night sky, while the gem is nearly hot enough to burn. And that's it for unique things. Yeah, it's just regular amulet. Okay. This is Muhai's estate. Each island in this miniature model has been carefully sculpted, lined with carved rings that indicate height.
At last! Akira, I have waited a second lifetime.
This is not stealing, so let's take it. Various unfinished letters lie scattered across the desk. You catch fragments of a meandering apology, largely obscured by spilled ink. Again, not stealing. Monsters of the Deadfire Archipelago, we've already read that one. Ship's Log of Tempest Turn. The Rise of Cypher Rongas. I don't know if we've read The Rise of Seiferangas yet. I'm going to take it, but I know we haven't read Ship Logs of Tempest Turn. An excerpt from the Journal of Noron. First mate of the Tempest Turn. It reeks of stale liquor and white leaf smoke. Day 286. Suppose this is more of a diary now, though let's be honest, it was heading that course for some time now, on account of Captain DeLuna kicking me from the ship, and all because I kept reminding her how she said one night over dinner she'd finally listened to my theories on the crew who went missing near some island. What was it called? Bloodlung Island, or Kazawari, or something such. To the north of Fort Deadlight. I don't remember. Point is, I know it wasn't the floating hangman what got them, because the dhow was recovered, and it didn't have no blood on the deck, nor even torn sails or pockmarked wood. For that matter, it couldn't have been those trading company bastards, ship hunters, slavers, Huana savages, or aumauan military. The crew just up and disappeared, every last one. No bodies, no blood, just clothes and food and grog left behind. Gods, they left the grog, every last cask. So you tell me, Captain DeLuna, just what happened to them? What new threats out there? What we ought to be spending gold and rubies and blood and sweat to prepare for? Who took them if it wasn't a flock of overly cunning imps with a taste for pirate flesh? Well, I'm going to find out, just as soon as I charter a ship out to that island. So a little hint at something above Fort Deadlight. The floating hangman is a ghastly and rotting ship that haunts the Deadfire. Manned by an undead crew, this vessel is rumored to becalm the seas, and sails veiled with an unnatural fog. It's like a ghost ship. Is that a dead body over here? I wonder if that is the body that belonged to this person out here, this spirit.
Dead, I say. This poor woman.
We got Evie the dog, which gives us +2 resolve. Muhai's remains. The lifeless body of a Huana woman recovered from an estate in Serpent's Crown. So this is a dead woman here. Alright, so let's go talk to her spirit, see what's going on.
There you are.
The spirit tilts her head, considering you. After a moment, she reaches a hand towards you. Yes, I'm real.
And what kept you? Why should I wait so long for Rikuhu's messenger? Or have you come as Bereth's usher? The foreigners twist even our gods. Should you not be a dwarf?
I'm not the usher, I'm a watcher.
Akira, I have not met one before. Nor will I again, I think. But you are here to take me away, are you not? Well, I refuse to go. Never will I move from this place until justice is done.
She stamps her foot, soundlessly.
I follow Magrin's way. Yet sickness took me before my time. I died alone and without honors. It must be put right. My body cannot be left here to rot, forgotten. I feel it there like an itch.
Who were you?
I have been many things. And in performing my duties, I brought honor to my caste and to my kin. A sea captain, a great explorer, trusted advisor to the Queen herself. Now, that is before I left the sea for the mountains to make maps and guide others. Chief navigator, that is what I made of myself.
Do you know where you are?
I can see nothing in this place of death but distant lights. But I feel I must be close to where I died. I have not taken one step since the darkness came.
What's the last thing you remember?
The sickness. Days of it. Lying in my own filth as the disease withered me. I passed from wakefulness to sleep with every breath. But I knew it once when it was over.
Is that why you haven't moved on? I could help you.
Of course. Some kind of mistake was made, and now Magrin will put it right. I thank you. Please, search my home. My body cannot be far.
Alright, we already know where this body is, so let's pick it up.
Have you found it? Akira, I hope I have not rotted away.
Found a body in the bed. I assume it's yours.
Yes. To think, a Mutaru of the Kahanga tribe left to die alone and forgotten. Unthinkable.
I'll fix this, I promise.
In life, I would have faced any challenge. Now you are my champion. Magrin smiles upon your deeds. Take my body to the Temple of Magrin in the Sacred Stair. There is a great fire there that burns eternally. Burn my body there, so that it may be dedicated to Magrin in death. I cannot pass from this life until all is in order.
Very well. I will fulfill your final wish.
You are a blessing. I would complain that you arrived late, but no matter.
Okay. Let's keep going around.
For what do you stare at me, priestess?
It's just, I mean, your, hair. It keeps wriggling around like it's got a mind of its own.
Do you wish to touch one? They do not bite.
Would I ever? Hold still. Oh, slimy.
I'm gonna save, I don't know.
Well, if you insist.
We'll get in trouble for going in a locked house. Lady Apparo's estate.
Someone's...
No. Yep. Okay. Gonna reload. Probably shouldn't have trespassed in the first place, but there might be a reason to do that later.
That helps.
Hunter or prey?
A woman with skin like hardened sailcloth sits upright and stares off to the distance, her lips held in a tight and thoughtful pinch. She blinks and sits even straighter as you cross her view.
So, it will be you, then.
Her hand strays toward a sheath at her side, but she holds her gaze evenly. I think you've mistaken me for someone else.
Then, I owe you an apology. I have collected many foes over the years. Some of them would sprint up the mountain to see me push through the jaws of the Great Eel.
She exhales and moves her hands back to her lap. You look like you can take care of yourself.
Akira, I have had much practice. As Nungata Whale Splitter, I cleared the jungles and seas alike of slippery creatures. I earned my foes later, when I hunted a deadlier prey.
Men? Lots of men?
Ha! Bounties, you wild ibex.
She chuckles to herself and turns away, raising her hand to hide a blush.
It's been years since I tossed a harpoon, so now I stay abreast of what bounties need filling. That's Mataru retirement for you.
You must think everyone's out to get you?
An occupational hazard, I say. Hunters do not play well with others.
She glances away and clears her throat into her fist.
You... Didn't you help me track down that crab thief in Etua?
Nungata glances up at Tekehu.
So it is true what they say. You never forget a face. Nungata, a pleasure as always.
He inclines his head.
Hard to forget the boy who pilfered half my earnings when he thought my back was turned.
She raises her brow and folds her arms.
That is a vile falsehood. I pilfered a third of your earnings. A finder's fee.
Tekehu chuckles to himself, but Nungata narrows her eyes and shifts her focus over to you. Ever miss the hunt?
I miss traveling across the archipelago, answering to no one but my empty belly and purse.
She grins out at the city and sighs.
But this is a younger woman's game. Better that I step aside and make way for aspiring killers. Akara?
What bounties do you have available?
Interested in taking up the trade, are we?
Nagata thumbs her chin and smiles as she considers.
I warn you that I deal in the heads of the exceptionally dangerous. A lady needs standards, after all.
She raises her brow and searches for any sign of hesitation. I assume that means they're exceptionally well priced.
You assume right, Hunter. Let's cut your teeth on clever Bena, infamous dwarf mystic of the obscured. A scavenger, I say. Picks off those who trust her for an evening, and then pockets their coin when she's bled them out. Bena was seen traveling on an island due southwest of Osongo.
I'll return with her head. Farewell.
Do you seek companionship on your travels across the Deadfire? Why not take a little friend along? We have many animals on offer, all well-trained and eager for a new home.
Let's see what you have.
Akira, you are sure to find one that suits you.
We got Bubble the Cat, Elmo, Ginger Demon, Catherine Von Killian the Cat, Loki, Milks, and I shouldn't read all of these, but we got some dogs, cats, pigs, and Nebula. Don't know what kind of pet. Is that like an astral pig like we had in the first game? I'll check this alleyway before we go into the palace. Nothing here. Oh, it's the Tehe. That was the other person that was looking for that tablet. Let's see what she says.
You return.
Oh.
What say, friend?
The Harapo epic, that's what it was. And this isn't the other woman, this is the woman that I already talked to. We'll start at the lower floor. Did Tekehu do these? I don't think, no. These water sculptures.
Hold a moment. You may visit the palace and its shrine, but be warned. The Queen meets with trading company vipers. Take care you are not bitten.
I have information for the Queen.
You will find her in her throne room through the door behind me. Inform the guards of your purpose. Whether the Queen will hear you above the baying of her guests is another matter.
The guard gestures towards the door, dismissing you.
While I am flattered by the esteemed Hazanui's confidence, I must wonder how my people are meant to have destroyed an entire colony overnight.
The Valiant dignitary aims a withering look across the aisle. A middle-aged woman with a square jaw and tar-stained teeth meets it.
You tell us. It's no coincidence that your outpost at Port Mage survived the recent storm.
She pulls a slender pipe from her pocket, but at a look from the Queen's attendants, she puts it away. And this is Hasanui Karu.
You speak as if I could command the tides. While you are casting your blame in a wide net, why not look to our Kahanga allies? We do not share their talent for shaping water.
So something happened here. Oh, it's no good that your outpost at Port Mage survived the recent storm. So this guy is from Port Mage. And his outpost at Port Mage survived the storm. Alright, let's continue this. So it seems like both of them are blaming the other for something that happened. A sizable aumauan standing by the throne takes a bold step forward and flares his nostrils at the assembled dignitaries. A hush falls over the room.
I say our guest forgets himself.
This is Prince Aruahi. He clears his throat and sweeps his gaze from Nero to the rest of the room.
Brother, stand down.
This is Queen Onakasa II. Up to this point, the Queen has studied the proceedings with an even expression. She half rises from her throne as she fixates on Prince Aruhi.
You are the one who mistakes my throne room for a sparring arena. I say this is beneath us.
As Aruhi lowers his head, the Queen slowly centers her gaze on you and leaves it there.
An interesting visitor in difficult times. You cannot be here to deliver a favorable omen.
Though her mouth doesn't move, Onakasa's voice comes to you like an insistent memory nestled among your surface thoughts. I'll shake my head, the honest response.
The gods remember the honest, and so do I.
Onakasa nods.
Allow me to apologize as I toss you before the wolves.
Though she turns to her dignitaries, you still feel her attention on you.
This one is a watcher blessed by Tangaloa. I suspect that many of our questions about Hasongo will soon be answered.
The Queen's voice fills the expansive throne room, leaving you with hushed silence to fill. Take stock of your audience. The Valian Nero projects affluence with his fine garb and gems. Karu, the Rawatayan Haznui, stands rigidly, watching the assembly through slitted eyes. She seems like someone who rarely leaves her back to a door. Onakasa, the Wana Queen, is all ease and comfort, though something in her bearing speaks of quiet, measured intensity. Her brother, standing away from the proceedings, cannot hide a satisfied grin. The chaos of the hall appeals to him. If it pleases the court, I've journeyed from a crippled Port Mage.
I know this one. His parlor tricks frightened 10 years of every sailor in Queen's birth.
Raising her hand for silence, Onakasa looks to her brother. He approaches, and they exchange a few words too quietly to hear. She lifts her gaze to you once more.
We assembled to discuss the darkening of Hasongo, one of Rawatai's colonies. Watcher, it seems you have the floor.
She opens her palms and waits. Port Mage suffered similar damage when Aethys passed through.
What sailor's tale is this?
There's no sane explanation for what's been happening. We keep waiting for one, it'll be too late.
Does tilling the soils of the Eastern Reach drive all men mad? You sound as crazy as the Dawnstar Dreamers.
She looks at Adair, the way one would look at an especially rabid but fascinating animal.
Have you not heard the rumors, Karu? An Adra Colossus marching across the sea. Sailor tales, but credible ones.
Nero crosses his arms, looking distinctly uncomfortable.
How came a watcher from half the world away to be involved in these happenings? Enlighten the court.
Aethys emerged from beneath Cadnua, my castle. He made this personal. Silence descends on the hall. Courtiers and delegates eye one another, seemingly gauging which of them will be the first to laugh. A stern look from Queen Onakasa turns every questioning glance to stone.
Tracking down a god who stands as tall as a mountain. A fisherman with poor eyesight could do this. My priests will trip over their feet to interpret his divine plan. Watcher, can you cut through the din and tell for what he comes to the Deadfire?
Yes, I plan on using Audra Pillars to track and ultimately confront Aethys.
How resourceful of you. The Isles are studded with enough luminous Audra to bankroll an economy.
She turns a quiet glance in Nero's direction.
I believe our course is clear. We will send the Watcher to Hisongo.
Onakaza spreads her hands, calmly assured of her reasoning.
Set sail to the west of Neketaka. I would tell you to keep a weather eye out for a lighthouse, but the God of Light did not appreciate competition. Something to add, Hazanui? You have an eager look about you. She believes herself entitled to my ear, I say.
Onakaza's gaze wanders back to you only briefly.
Only that Hisongo is a Rauatayan outpost. It would be useful for the Watcher to take one of ours along.
She inclines her chin to another woman standing nearby.
Ma'am.
This is Maya. A composed Aumauan stands at attention, her furrowed brow cleaving down otherwise warm features. By her feet, a colorful bird preens itself without concern.
Maya's an expert sailor and a better sharpshooter. The best the Brass Citadel has to offer.
She looks you in the eye and gives you a slow nod.
Whatever comes your way, she'll see it first.
If it gets me and Ashiza out of diplomat duty, we'd set sail with a drunk scolder at the helm.
Maya sighs with resignation and nudges her bird affectionately with her toe.
Ac, perfito. Do you mean to stop Aethys by shooting him? Sere Pelagina will go with the Watcher. Show him how the Republic's handled things.
Nero waves airily, so it looks like we got two new party members. Well, one new and one old from the first game. The guard behind him coughs politely. She looks familiar.
Your Excellency, Palagina Messerai has been banished? She has been seen in Queen's Berth. I can have her report to headquarters.
Nero silences the guard with a withering look and a sharp gesture.
You should feel no obligation to take on additional crew. The choice is yours.
I'll take Maya. Always good to have a rifle on hand.
Say the word and I'll shoot the tip off a green boy's nose.
Ashiza looks up at Maya and warbles something agreeable. That's this bird here, I think.
You're making a mistake, Watcher. In times like these, trustworthy allies are the most valuable asset of all.
I didn't have a choice to take Palagina. I wonder if the other choice would have... I don't know.
Calm down, Nero. I'm sure you'll get one of your spies in place eventually.
A lazy half-smile tugs at her mouth.
In the meantime, Watcher, I hope you'll meet me in the Brass Citadel. There's more for us to discuss among friendlier company.
She glares briefly at Nero.
I believe we are finished here. Aruihi?
Queen Onakaza rises from her throne and the surrounding guards stand at immediate attention.
Aren't we popular? Take care at Hisongo. The Deadfire was overfull before Aethys blundered in.
Onakaza nods to you as she adjourns.
Your allies will use you toward any end. Do not give your trust lightly.
Onakaza clears her throat and sweeps the room with her gaze.
I say it is beyond time our guests lick their wounds somewhere else.
He banishes the foreign dignitaries with a swift and unmistakably disgusted wave.
Let's speak.
So I'm going to keep her as a Gunhawk Ranger. We just got a bunch of new quests. But I'm not going to take her with us right now.
While we have the chance.
We just got a bunch of new quests here. Distant Light, that's sail to Hisongo. That's the place they were talking about, trying to figure out what exactly happened there. Is this one? Nope. I met Hazanua Karu of the Royal Deadfire Company at the palace. It might be worthwhile to follow up with her. So we got to go to the Brass Citadel to speak with her. And then for the Republics. At the palace, I encountered Nero, a representative of the Valiant Trading Company. It seems like the Valiants have a strong presence in the region. It may be worth my time to make contact at their headquarters. And yep. I think that's all of them. Here is Prince Arihi.
Your coming is a favorable omen already.
The prince nods and crosses his arm, a self-satisfied smile on his lips. I'm just happy to be alive.
Such modesty, I say. You happen by a time when our rivals bicker and tear at each other's throats.
So both of them are rivals here, and this was 3 of the main factions all in the same room together, which I probably should have commented on, but I didn't recognize it until now. We had the Huana with the Queen and the Prince. We had the Royal Deadfire Company with the Hazanui. And we had the Valiant Trading Company with Nero. So that's 3 of the main factions of this game. The other one is the Principe. And according to Arihi here, he calls both of them rivals, both the Valiant Trading Company and the Royal Deadfire Company rivals.
Bringing Ngati's chosen on your trek up the mountain.
He nods to Tekehu with approval.
It does not take a priest to see how the gods send us an outsider to dig under the skin of our enemies.
Arihi chuckles to himself and nods. You don't seem to take your rivals very seriously.
How can I when they posture and peck like a pair of kata birds?
Arihi smirks and shakes his head.
I will not paddle around the island. My sister wants to know if you are as useful as you are disruptive. She trusts me to judge this.
His sister is the queen, if that wasn't clear.
You did not come this far to serve the crown, I say. But sailing is an expensive hobby. Loyal service can keep your galley stocked.
This is my insight. Have any problems with loyalty lately?
Neketaka is a city of friends, I say. We exchange so much between districts.
His smile tightens into a hard line.
Even my sister's advisors dine at the officers' lounge and indulge at the wild mare.
Arihi grimaces and looks away. Say nothing.
Here in Serpent's Crown, I can guarantee safety. But cavorting with outsiders, Akira, that is open water.
He opens his palms and sighs.
Tekehu, I must remind you to be vigilant. Even though you will ignore my advice.
Arihi raises his brow and smirks.
My prince, wild mares could not keep me from the wild mare, but I will remember your words.
As a reminder, Wild Mare is the inn at Queen's Birth.
A helpful warning, Herald of Bereth. From one friend to another.
I had some questions.
After the sorry display we have put on, you have every right to be curious. Have on then.
Still not sure what that argument was about.
The trading companies beat their chests and howl at each other. Business and conquest speak louder than hospitality.
Arihi rolls his eyes.
If I was the Hazanui, I would think twice before barking that a tribe as wealthy and ruthless as the Valians destroyed my lighthouse.
So, it seems like the Royal Deadfire Company had a lighthouse that was destroyed, and they are trying to blame the Valians for it in some way. Because they survived at Port Mage, they think it was their fault. Like, that they did something there because Port Mage was untouched, whereas this lighthouse at Hasango was destroyed. How does the caste system work in Neketaka?
It is the same in the city as anywhere in the Deadfire. Mataru judge our souls at birth, and organize us for the survival of the tribe.
Aurihi pauses and frowns to himself.
I'm not the first to say it, but Neketaka has more walls than beaches, more roads than clearings, and more people than fish. Nowhere in the city does a Raparu sit around the same fire as a Mataru. Neketaka tests our traditions, I say.
So it seems like the Huana have, because of the presence of the trading companies, because of the riches that they bring, they have kind of eschewed what they used to be about. Yes, there has always been this caste system, but it hasn't been as split apart from each other as it is right now. The Raparu are basically forgotten, and the Mataru don't want anything to do with them, and he's saying that he wants that tradition back. Don't you see that as a contradiction?
What man or woman of the Isles does not?
Aurihi chuckles and shakes his head.
Our ancestors built this place. We are the hermit crab who occupies a fallen shell.
Another reference to the age of this city. The Nguithans are thought to have built maybe the old city below, but the Huana ancestors built Neketaka itself.
It is for my sister and her priest to judge the fit.
Aurihi shrugs, squinting at the court's high ceiling. You and Onakaza represent the Kahanga tribe?
Akira, as the largest and most prosperous of the Deadfire tribes, the Kahanga have some authority to speak for the others. I say Onikaza and I are large stones in a tide pool, standing tall as the water rises to our necks.
You don't seem to think much of the trading companies.
My sister has mastered the diplomat's tongue, and I am foolish to give her frustrations a loud voice.
He sheepishly scratches the back of his head.
But Akira, I pray every day that Ngati tests the outsiders against her tallest waves and longest serpents.
So yeah, he definitely blames these trading companies for the loss of traditions. What do you think of your sister's rule?
We agree on much, I say. The prosperity of the Huana, our burden to appease the gods.
Aurihi clears his throat and cranes his neck to tell if anyone is eavesdropping.
In the trading companies, Onikaza sees Woreka testing us, weighing who deserves the Isles. I see Ngate sending krakens of gold and iron against our ship, but arming us with a single harpoon.
No further questions.
While you are in Neketaka, maybe you are interested in making yourself useful.
The prince eyes you with a curious gleam. I could use some extra coin to outfit the Defiant.
Akira, to patch a hull or stitch a sail is costly when supplies come from distant islands. The city has honest work for those in need, I say, and insists that everyone carry a heavy purse.
What kind of loyal service did you have in mind? Though he's not been paying attention up to this point, Tekehu rouses from distraction and blinks at you.
My sister keeps a tight grip on Neketaka, but the filth of it drips down her palm and into the gullet.
He opens his hand for emphasis and wipes it across his shoulder.
Under our noses, I say, do foreigners smuggle contraband and pay the Raparu for their silence. Take this if you need proof.
He tosses you a silver medallion inscribed with Valian honorifics, the Envoy's badge. This medallion once graced the neck of a Valian dignitary and was assumed lost after a terrible shipwreck. How it ended up in the back streets of Neketaka is a question that Prince Aurihi wants answered. Okay. What is this?
An envoy ship sank a day's voyage out of Neketaka. He wore that on his breast. My guards recovered it in a raid of the gullet. This confirms my suspicion. Neketaka has a pirate problem.
Aurihi's upper lip curls with distaste.
Smugglers and thieves cluster like rats in Delver's Row, a growth in the bowels of our city. I want someone to peddle the medallion to the black market, earn the trust of these pirates, and learn how supplies come into my city.
His gaze rises to meet yours, cold and calculating. To what end?
It will depend on what you find, I say.
Aurihi folds his arms and scrutinizes the floor between his feet, deep in thought. He's telling the truth, but there's something more to it all the same. And he doesn't trust his face not to betray it, and that's because my streetwise.
Onikaza leaves this for me to handle. While she worries about the manor, I tidy up the basement.
Now, tell me what you're holding back.
I say nothing gets past you. Is there any question why I want you for the job?
Aurihi chuckles to himself.
If we dealt only in pirates, then I would put a trusted agent in rags and send him down hiding in a food wagon. But Akira, I have reason to suspect our problem goes deeper than we know. For this, I want an expert. Naturally, you will want to take Ngati's chosen with you.
Aurihi smiles at Tekehu and inclines his head.
Me? For what does the lower city need an artist?
Continue. Oh.
You mistake me, I say. I send you because of the missive you delivered to my sister.
He raises his brow as a silent understanding passes between them.
Akira, I did not realize.
Tekehu nods slowly and folds his arm. Is anyone going to clue me in?
Better if we discuss it on our way down the mountain.
Tekehu turns to Aurihi, who nods in agreement.
Be on your guard in the gullet. I fear the caverns run deeper than even Ngati could guess.
The prince dismisses you with a nod. So we gotta find Delver's Row, which is that hidden place that, forget what the name of the, entrance was in the gullet. It says water shaped here. I think maybe this was designed by Tekehu. Water dances in graceful circles around this coral-struck sculpture.
You see my adorable fish, Captain. I leave you to guess which of them is real.
So yeah, that was him. We have a Valiant Diplomat here, and Granus Yerger. Makarama the Buoyant, beloved of Ngati. Punamu Birdscorned, greatest of explorers. Hemungu Makapu, defender of his people. And I guess that those are all important Huana people. Barris Bell, Orland's Cradle, Ragged Clothing. Let's talk to Granus over here. You meet a tall, brown-haired man dressed in full plate mail that might not normally catch your eye, but his mail is unusual, colored a deep green and emblazoned with the image of a golden tree. Hand on the pommel of his sword, he watches the crowd go by with keen eyes, relaxed, yet fully alert. He narrows his eyes when he spots you.
What do you need of me?
He looks at you warily, as if he's deciding whether you are a snake that might bite.
Well?
Sounds like Tekehu, maybe the same actor. Tell me about yourself. He's initially hesitant, unsure of your intent. Eyes narrowed, he sizes you up, then nods. Wait.
I am the son of a disgraced noble family. My father and brothers were executed for treason when I was a boy. Rightfully so, I must add. And my mother, sister, and I were thrown out on the street. All we had to our names was a trunk full of heirlooms. One of them was this suit of armor, which belonged to my eldest brother. Now I endeavor to live up to its promise and redeem my family's honor. That's the long and short of it, really.
Can you teach me what you've learned as member of the Shield Bearers? Okay, so he's a shield bearer.
Well, you would need to become a shield bearer yourself to really learn it all. I suppose I can teach you a thing or two as we stand here. The privilege will run you 3,000 copper, however.
So I can enhance my survival and athletics if I pay him 300 copper. Not going to do that, but I can.
As you like.
Okay, and the Valiant Diplomat.
Ado, Watcher. Clearly you are an interesting man to know. You should speak with Governor Alvari in our headquarters down the mountain in Queen's Berth.
I think I may have already spoken to him. I'm not sure, though. Gotta come over here first before we go upstairs. We have a Tepu here. A cartographer bites his thumbnail and mutters to himself. The Huana depiction of Hylia is almost menacing in its intensity. And we see this depiction of Hylia actually is a bird. Can't tell what kind of bird it is. But I could say how people would see that as menacing. The raucous screeching of the birds in their cage is endless. So this must be a shrine to Hylia here. There's the harp, there's the sculpture, and there's some birds in cages.
Indeed.
Though simple in construction, the sink is clean and tidy. Someone has finished off a quick meal here. The Rise of the Cipher Rangas. I think I picked up that book. I don't think I've read it. I'm going to hold off on it because I may have. Let's go to the upper floor. Storm Speaker's warning. Let's read that. My prince, I have warned Kamauka against calling rain over the outsider forts, but still she delights in rusting their weapons and muddying their soil, which tells me that someone must have put her up to this trickery. Someone she trusts. She admires you, my prince, but I say that she is a storm you cannot control. Onakaza will not thank you for prodding the eel's den. You've given enough faith to the trickster Ngati. Now take Amir's example, and await the hatching of the egg. The turbulent skies speak of change and upheaval. I say let them come, but save your strength for the day the skies open. I have recommended that Kamauka seek you out. There is a place for her in the fleet if you find yourself in need of Amir's sharpened beak. So it seems like Storm Speaker Baudo thinks that the prince is encouraging Kamauka to mess with maybe Valiance? Deadfire? I'm not sure. Whatever creature these jaws belong to is clearly massive. I wonder if it's the prince's room. It might be the prince's room. Queen's chambers over here, and yeah, this is the prince's chambers.
You songwriters need a guild if you hope to learn discipline.
Not so. We speak in the tongue of Ngati and Amira. Your pretty dances may upset the
pays
public,
coin to
but
feed
we
the
command
great
the
eel.
wind and sky.
Hey, I have missed our little talks.
Akira.
Barati.
He smells one touched by the great eel, does Barati.
A sizable aumauan tilts his head up and looks down his nose at you, flaring his nostrils with hungry interest.
You are a man who sits across a fire with death. Akira?
Pallid Knight and I are on familiar terms. He nods, clasping his hands with quiet delight.
For glutting mighty Tangaloa and hurling foes into their next life, Barati can offer payment. Coins for feeding hungry gods. Akira?
So yeah, this is another bounty guy.
Rewarding those who appease the great eel. This is Barati's cause. May the beasts of the Dreaming Lands never know famine.
Barati inclines his head and touches his brow, holding the pose with deep reverence. What bounties do you have available?
Tangaloa rolls a hungry eye toward Dichila, a Valian captain who scouts for luminous Adra in sacred lands.
Barati squeezes his knuckles until they're bone white. I'll take it.
Akira. Tangaloa knew it would be so. Dichila sails her Voyager Alicio around the waters south of Neketaka. The great eel hungers for her soul.
Barati touches his brow and inclines his head. So yeah, here's some bounties down here. Meryl the Mad, it looks like I can take on just now, but Bana, Dwergus are too hard. And then some of these are actually associated with the different factions. Yakara, Asila Wave Skipper. Another depiction of Hylia here. The quiet gurgling of the fountain is a constant backdrop in this spacious chamber, who I think the Huana call Amira. Heard that said a few times, and I believe it's a name for Hylia.
Happily. Just a moment. It's no trouble.
Too special in there. Some food. Food and an antidote. Wait. Oh, no, I was stealing. Fine robe. Okay. What pages lie strewn between the books hold a strange arrangement of letters, not all in the Huana alphabet. Just got the rooftops here. Oh, wait. There it is. Oh, this one's cool looking. These water sculptures are great.
Indeed.
Motes of light dart through the winding streams of water like schools of fish. Beyond the city gates lie vast stretches of farmland, interrupted here and there by encroaching jungle. Got some tigers here.
You make a habit of turning up uninvited.
The queen has affected a far more relaxed posture. A pair of tigers lounge indolently beside her.
Kahopa, Tangaloa. Welcome, I guess.
Oh, she has names for them. The snakes that represent Bareth. She nods down to the cats. They fix you with attentive stares that may cause many courtiers and attendants to gasp.
Watch out. When these things lick, well, I hope for your sake you're not ticklish.
You travel with a brave crew, Watcher.
Oh, and Casa smiles up at Adair. Good Kahopa, good Tangaloa.
Nothing to fear, I say. If a queen cannot wrangle two cats, what right has she to the Deadfire?
She drags a hand over both of their massive heads. They lean into the gesture.
There are many leagues between here and Hasongo. I trust you have packed for the journey?
I just wanted to look around.
Then look. Take in every delight, within reason. But do not waste my time.
She dismisses you with a casual wave, but you catch a trace of amusement in the gesture.
The boldness of foreigners.
She shakes her head and strokes the nape of a tiger's neck. Okay, I think that's everything in Serpent's Crown then. We have a stray cat and Gervard Calder. Chrissy the cat, who gives us plus 15% healing done. You find a young man with long blonde hair drawn back in a simple club. His clothes are spare but well tailored, and his armor, fine brigandine in blue and silver, is polished to a shine. He leans casually to one side, a clean hand on his hip, and sighs, bored. His eyes light up when he sees you.
Hello there. Come to have a word? I don't bite, I promise. Yes?
Tell me about yourself.
Gladly, my friend. Gladly. And how kind of you to ask.
He clears his throat with a theatrical wave of his hand.
I am the youngest son of a noble house. Now, don't make that face. Poor, desperate fool, you must be thinking. Well, waste not your sympathies on me. Truly, I consider it a boon rather than a punishment. All the comfort and none of the responsibility. What's not to like about that?
Listen.
As I was loafing about my father's estate, I thought, well, Gervard, isn't it time you made a name for yourself as well? So here I am. And though I dare say I'm little use in a fistfight, I can do a fair bit of magic and draw a lovely map. So I've taken to charting the interior wilderness of the Deadfire's larger islands.
That sounds dangerous in its own right.
Ah, but it's worth it for the stories I'll one day have to tell. But truly, if I could only inspire others as I myself have been inspired by those old tales, why, it would be marvelous. Anyway, enough of my prattling. Surely you've other things to do.
Okay, so this is another trainer.
It would be my absolute pleasure. For a price, of course. 3,000 copper?
And he can train me in history and arcana. I don't think so.
Well, I'll be here if you change your mind.
Gotta say, I appreciate that there's trainers here. Very reminiscent of Morrowind for me, one of my favorite games. Doesn't work exactly like it did in Morrowind. You could keep training. It seems like you can only train with these guys once. Although, I don't know, maybe not. Maybe you train once for 3,000, and then after that it's 5,000. I don't know. I don't remember if I ever used them or not. So I want to go to the Sacred Stair to drop off to,
Condra's got something in mind for you, Tekehu?
For me to exist in this form and to join this crew? I know she does.
It's funny. I fought against Aethys. I'm chasing him now. I don't think he knows a thing about me.
Nikera, it is for us to show the gods why we are worthy of notice.
Yeah, I guess we'll see about that.
I want to go to Sacred Stair to cremate that body. Looking for Mogren. Here's the Temple of Mogren.
Candles and bombs.
Maybe it's right here.
You there? What are you doing?
Muhai has passed. I'd like to commit her body to the flames.
Muhai?
The priest's calm demeanor is shattered by his hissed utterance. He glances around you both.
Muhai has broken with Wahana. The Queen has forbade that any should have contact with her. Akira? She would be banished to the Undercity if not for her sickness. And now that has finished her.
What does that mean?
The sharing of resources among the tribe. For what do we let the Mataru rule us, if not to dispense Wahana in fairness?
It's Wahana.
A group of the Wapua came to seek Muhai's counsel, for she was known as a great navigator. Muhai was of the Aweki before she came to Neketaka. The Aweki and Wapua were enemies for many years, before Queen Onekaza's time. The Muhai misled the hunting party, and they were lost. All of us are Kahanga now. To harm Wapua is to harm Aweki. As Muhai turned her back upon her kin, so we were commanded to turn ours upon her. The Queen would have us join our tribes into one raised fist. She could not let Muhai's crime stand.
She gave them bad directions. That's not the same as murdering them.
There are those who kill by sword and those who kill by cunning. To the dead, it makes no difference.
She died alone, isn't that enough?
So too did she act on her own, against her own people. She does not deserve the honor of walking with the gods.
She was still one of you. Her spirit cannot rest.
It is good of you to care so for one of our people. Come, give me the body. I will bury her beyond the great city walls. It is the best that I can do.
Is there no other way?
You are not of the Kahanga tribe. For what do you do this?
I feel sorry for her.
And I as well. Muhai has brought great sorrow upon herself.
What do I do here? Because if she really did do that, but also she's dead. And I feel like making her spirit angry could turn her into some kind of shade or phantom or something like that. This is not an easy decision here. I feel like it's not even that big of a decision in the game, but I don't know what to do here. Yarter, I'll do as she asked and burn her body.
You would defy the word of our queen?
Can she not redeem herself?
Muhai is dead. She has lost her final battle.
Who says one's chance for redemption ends with death? For some, it's only the beginning.
Come, give me the body. I will bury her beyond the great city walls. It is the best that I can do.
Alright, give him the body.
I will do as promised. Thank you, outsider. The Wapua have their justice, and the Queen's law stands. You have done the right thing.
Got moderate positive reputation with the Huana.
I hear your talk. Who has turned your heart against me? The priest? Has he forgotten who we were? Never before would a member of the Awiki have been left to die alone. I upheld my tribe's honor, and for that I was abandoned. Left to waste away, to hobble around my home with only maps for company. Now I will be buried like a secret. Never to know Magran's favor.
I'm sorry, Muhai.
Berath will claim you in time. And I will be here, Watcher. I wait for you on this side.
Okay. Quest completed. I don't know how I feel about that. Alright, what else can we do over here? I gotta locate Delver's Row. Sail to Fort Deadlight. Meet with people in the Valiant Trading Company. Here we go. Let's go to Queensberth, to Peddler's Canal in Queensberth, and return the satchel to Degnos, who lost it in the Luminous Bathhouse. Can we go right there? No. A voice calls out to you from an alleyway. Neketaka's poorer districts host more dark than light. The streets and alleys, the only housing many Huana know. As you pass by one of these alleys, a voice calls out. You turn to see a hand fold out from the darkness. A pale palm balances a figurine. More silhouette than statue in the dim light, and when you try to get a clear look, the fingers fold back up. Magic, the voice says. It summons beasts to harry your enemies. Will save you in a pinch in a city as dangerous as this. Surely your life's worth a few silver. Torchlight glints from the man's teeth. You want, you follow. The figure withdraws from the darkness. Though you only got a glimpse of it, you know that the figurine is no mere trinket. There's untapped power within its form. It's my arcana, lets me do that. Enter the tunnel. Within the alley, a torch ignites, revealing a tunnel entrance. You pass through the archway. On the other side, a group of Principi hold torches and blades. Bodies stuff the corners, eyes dry in flickering flames, some with their hands bound, others face down in the grime. Strangely facile, isn't it? The pirate draws his weapon. Set out a little cheese, and these foreign rats come tick, 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 chittering in. I can try to make a deal with them, but these guys are just killing people, so I'm gonna attack them. First, let's intimidate them, see what happens. Hand over that figurine now. Probably not gonna work. The Principi's leader stares at you blankly before taking a step back. His crew glances around, a few reaching for their weapons. The pirate smirks. Nah, I think not. He raises his weapon. Alright, here goes. I want to turn into a shark. What's this? Oh, it doesn't cool down. I gotta wait. Okay. That's too bad. These guys are... One of them is really tough. Have to see if...
Very helpful. Stand together!
How good, I say!
Get up, Tekehu!
Dead quick.
Lava beyond seek! Fight on, Joti!
These guys are too difficult for me now. Man. So I gotta go pretty far back here. Should I try it one more time? I mean, I don't think this is gonna go well no matter what, but let's see.
Better than that.
Let's see if this helps.
Rather difficult to concentrate. Lava beyond
Party diminishes.
We kill the tough one? No, not yet.
Yeah.
Diru asakula wathanara.
A lantern flick.
I hope nobody saw that.
Might actually get to do this here.
Great earth awaits me.
Second try, I say.
Come on.
Oh man, I thought that was the tough one.
See, huh?
I'll make it.
Empowering myself here. That'll help.
I can hold out. Stand together.
Can't afford to lose.
Ooh, I got him. Okay. Might actually be able to do this here.
We had some good
What's
times.
That'll teach you. Wake up, Adair.
Hey, we did it. Glad I tried that again. I was ready to give up. Got a fine breastplate, a fine saber, a fine dagger out of this, and oh, this is the battered dog figurine where we can summon a grave hound. This small hound is whittled from cedar. The craftsmanship, while admirable, is hardly that of a professional artisan, and the figurine is in rough repair. It has the smell of a graveyard about it. Perhaps it was buried at some point. So give that to Bjarter, and everything else will go into stash. Oh yeah, I gave it to him.
That will do, I say.
Alright, let's keep going to Queen's Birth so we can return that satchel, and that'll be it. Oy.
Ventre, a moment.
It said a group of Principe sailors accost you in the street. I didn't read that aloud. Ventre means a valiant term for an unmarried man. Oh. A tall, wiry man blocks your path. He wears a sly smile, as one might wear the most comfortable trousers.
I saw you speak to my dear amico Degnos, so I thought to myself, why, Talfor, you must meet him too.
Arrayed about him are a small group of kith, well armed and armored. What business of yours is it who I talk to?
Degnos is an associate of mine. His success is important to me, as it impacts my own.
His shrug is insouciance personified, slight and carefree. Not sure what that word means. Ignore him and walk past. Telfer grabs your arm as you pass. His grip is firm and his smile wide. He will not be deterred. Let's... guess I gotta get in another fight here. Punch him!
Batso!
Telfor reels back with a strangled cry, palm pressed to his eye. He draws his weapon and his companions do the same. Shodi lifts her chin in interest. Alright, let's see. Okay. This time... nothing seems too difficult. Okay, good. Oh, are these? Oh, it doesn't know I'm in combat yet. Okay.
Let's try again. Can't make a dent. Stay with us. No, that's it. Oh, yes. Beyond the feet. Careful.
Worth and rough!
Stand together!
This does not work!
Got to keep the lad on his feet! I'm alright.
Party diminishes!
Man. Can't even travel to a place without getting accosted. Twice. And this one I think I have to do. Because it's with this quest here. I wonder if there's any way I can rest. Nope, it's just wait. So then maybe... if I just go to the hole. Alright, let's get a room. And then try and fight him again.
Need something? What you need? I've got just the thing.
Alright, let's try this again.
I thought Juana didn't believe in personal property. Yet you've brought quite the assortment of leather necklaces.
Kara, just so. But not all of them go around my neck.
In that case, perhaps you could remove them from my sleeping berth.
Oh, it is no burden, my friend. You are free to borrow one.
Alright, trying again.
Ventre, a mo. I I saw you speak to my dear amico Degnos. Degnos is an associate of mine. His success... Ah!
Okay.
Can't make a dent.
Yeah. Would have had her up.
Beyond seek. Can't make a dent.
Behold me, mother. Seeing trails.
Stay with us.
Alright, so Talfer's dead. Where's my... wonder why I don't have the second wind anywhere here. It's always been up there. I don't know where it went. I don't know if I did something to make it go away, or... maybe they already used it?
I'll make it. Number is diminishing. And I need. This thing isn't doing the job.
Kind of annoying that I can't get to where I want to go.
Ventre, a moment. I saw you speak to my dear amico Degnos. Degnos is an... Ah!
Just saw it.
Can't make a dent.
Thinks you got the days of darkness.
Can't make a dent.
Darkness flow.
So I'm going to try to dominate this priest here. I don't know if he's healing people, but...
No one noticed that.
Tekehu!
didn't work. Damn it.
Breath through lake now.
There's Ella.
I think that dominate did not work. Alright.
We're dropping like flies! My lantern.
Alright, I don't know, maybe my gear isn't good enough. I have some other gear. Let's start equipping things. You know, I mean, it's fine that there's these quests here that I can't do yet. Like, I'm okay with that. But just to be accosted and to it be unavoidable, it's really frustrating. Alright. So I can equip him with a fine saber. And a fine medium shield. If I can make his Saints War armor fine. This is expensive though. I don't want to do that just yet. Oh, I forgot I have this dog. I should definitely be using that. Medium armor. Oh, this is a little better than what I was wearing. It's still medium armor. She's just got some vestments gone. I think I can do anything with Aloth. Okay, who's already got exceptional armor. All right, let's see.
Ventre, a moment. I saw you speak to my dear amico. Degnos is an associate of... Ah!
All right.
I can hold out.
Annihilate! Take me down!
Okay. This one went a little better, definitely.
We're dropping like flies.
I spoke too soon. This guy's taking forever.
Get threshed. My lantern flickers.
rough. Makes no difference.
All right. Phew. Maybe I can actually get to Queen's Birth now. Got a fine sword, fine mail armor, boots of evasion.
Sure thing.
Yay, we got... I thought that going to Sansa's Map Emporium would bring me outside there. That's kind of in the middle of the city, so... or the area. Didn't realize it would send me to the inside of the shop. Alright.
My friend.
Peddler's Canal.
In a book while the beauty of the Deadfire passes you by.
A readied mind will be far more useful the next time we face dragons, cultists, or vampires.
You are ready to face death. What of life, I say?
If you never experienced the pleasure in a good book, more's the pity.
Ekosi, Fentre, you have found the satchel?
You have some explaining to do.
It is not as you must think. Complanca, hear me out.
His gaze slides off your face as if he's not able to meet your eyes. A light sweat dampens his brow, and he worries the hem of his tunic. Your scheme's ended. Talfor is dead. He pales, glancing left and right with alarm.
If you will not support me, I understand. Your contempt is justified.
He hangs his head and his shoulders sag, listless as a ship in irons.
But I beg you, please do not tell Aveta.
I won't report you to Aveta if you agree to end your scheming.
Nehala, yes, I will do as you ask, so long as you do not tell Aveta.
He claps his hands together and nods vigorously.
My word is my bond.
He taps his chest. Okay, so it's over. Got a bunch of level ups here, but I'm going to save that for next time. We'll start with the level up next time. Because it's been well over 2 hours at this point. So, today we actually got to explore all of Neketaka. We still have some things to do here, but we've been to every building, I think, that we can get to. We completed a couple quests, had some frustrating encounters while we were trying to get to where we are right now, but we eventually powered through and did it. So, thank you as always for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions, comments, clarifications, those kinds of things. I'd love to hear from you, and hope to see you next time for more sentences and paragraphs. Bye, everybody.